Hey guys, happy new motherfucking year. What's up, Wing Chun boys? Dan IRL, what's up, Dan? What's up, Hope? Nice of you to join. Hey, Lush, glad you're here. So, happy new year. Yeah. How was your guys' New Year's? You know, we usually have fireworks around these parts, but I think I didn't hear any fireworks this year. That's weird. Yeah, there's usually someone in the neighborhood like firing fireworks. There's usually a lot, but not this year for some reason. Hello, hello, Ray. What's up, Saddle Tornado? Hey, that bitch. What's up, that bitch? I love bitches. The crafty dragon. Am I mute? Wait, am I muted? Am I muted? God, I'm not, right? Hello, 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 hello. No, I'm not. Man, whenever I start the stream, like I'm always there's always something in my head. You know that voice in your head that says you forgot something. Like you forgot something, right? Just try to remember what you forgot. And that always happens when I start this stream. I try to be prepared to get everything ready, but it's always there. You thought you had fireworks? Turns out it was someone firing a gun. Oh, I hope it wasn't at you. You don't live in a good neighborhood? Yeah, I hear you. I hear you, sister. I live near the bad part of town. Let's just say the part where all the Vietnamese are. terrible part of town. A lot of crime. That's my community. Better sing a song to test my sound. Nice try. Nice try, Nikki. One of your friend's neighbors blew off his hand with a firework on New Year's Eve? Holy shit. His entire hand? Or are you exaggerating? That sucks. What kind of fireworks did he have? Okay, like for New Year's for us, like for Chinese New Year's or I don't know, Lunar New Year's, we just light up fireworks. It's the small kind, right? The red fireworks. Yeah, those are cool. Like those won't blow up your hand. I think those you can put on your hand, and then as long as you don't enclose your wrist, right? You can put it on your hand and light it up, and it'll blow, and it won't hurt you that much. I believe. I haven't tried it. Oh, you like my mug? Yeah. Wait, hold on. I did buy it at Disneyland. Not Disneyland Paris. Why Paris? I bought it at Disneyland. Either Disneyland or Disney World. I forget. It was a while ago. It's dopey. Look. It was a Roman candle. All right, let's see how big that is. Oh my god. Wait, you can blow up your hand with this? Check it out. You can blow up your hand with this? Really? Does this even explode or does it just shoot? Ooh, look at this. It's a Roman candle minigun. Hell yeah. That guy knows how to celebrate. Your dad almost set the house on fire. One year when we were lighting fireworks. Not for American New Year's, but for Lunar New Year's when we were lighting fireworks. This lady just in her car just passed by and then she U-turned and she stopped the car in front of the sidewalk where we were, and she started yelling at us like, "Stop, you people! Stop! You people make the neighborhood dirty and all this stuff." She started yelling some really bad stuff. It does make it dirty, like it does make the ground dirty, but it's our lawn, right? Yeah, when you light the red fireworks, yeah, it gets all over the place. She got super mad. She started yelling at us, and then she just afterwards we're like, okay, sure, lady. And then she just leaves. That was weird. All right. Yeah, it was a good neighborhood too, and it's like it's a Bay Area, right? Not a lot of people like that around here, but apparently there are some people. There are fireworks in here all the time. I don't think she was mad because like if we lit normal fireworks, I don't think she would have been mad. It's the red Chinese fireworks that get all over the place that makes her mad. All right, I have, check it out today. Ooh. Ooh. Melon rice cake. All right. Melon rice cake. Mochi. Let's see. It smells really good. Ooh. Hmm. 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 It's really good. Oh god, I can't talk. Chew. Hmm. 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 Yeah. I shouldn't try too hard. Because people I think you can die from mochi. I think a lot of people have died from eating mochi. Because they get it stuck in their throat. Hmm. Yeah, it does taste like melon. Pretty good. Pretty good. I'm not a fan. I'm not a fan of fruits, but it's pretty good. It's like it's not too sweet. It does really taste like melon. I'm gonna give it like an 8 out of 10. All right. Yeah, did you guys know that people die from eating mochi? It seems like a lot. Well, let's look it up. How many people die from eating mochi? Look at this. 2 women choke to death on New Year's rice cakes. A grim New Year's trend continued in Japan as 2 women choked to death on traditional rice cakes. Choking on mochi is so common that the Tokyo Police Department has a website offering tips on how to help someone who has the food lodged in their throat. I want to see how many people die. In 2015, 9 people were believed to have died and taken part in the annual culinary tradition. Tokyo, 482 patients were hospitalized after choking on their rice cakes. That's just hospitalizations. In 2001, a woman saved her father's life when she used a vacuum cleaner to pull mochi from the 70-year-old man's throat. Wait, let's see some tips, guys. I want to hear some tips. But let's see. Mochi per... Oh, there you go. Mochi deaths per year. Na, 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 na. Suffocation death caused by... So Mochi sends more than 100 people to hospital every year. Between 2006 and 2009, 18 people have died from choking on mochi. Oh. Just 18? That's not that much. That's not that bad. I thought a lot of people die. Why not just make them bite-sized? Because they won't be as good, and you can't put fillings in them, right? They have to be like kind of this big. It's only 18 people over like 3 years. Not that much. It's overblown. You can eat mochi. Let's see. Ah, damn it. I can't read Japanese. How to eat mochi safely. Mochi can be enjoyed safely by taking small, slow bites or cutting them into small, manageable pieces. So not like what we just did. Okay, anyways. Yeah, so take small bites. Don't put the entire thing in your mouth. Two fingers, yeah. And apparently if you get it stuck in your throat, you can take a vacuum cleaner and just suck it out like that one dude did. Awesome. You almost choked on a dry rice cake. I thought you said dry ice cake. I was like, what the hell is that? All right. All right, guys. Let's see. So, what happened last week in our story? So, last week, Duan Yu and Mu Wanqing, they reunited, right? They reunite, and they're all happy and everything. And then also one dude was there. His name was Zhu Dan Chen, and he's one of the 4 bodyguards of Duan Yu's dad, right? So Duan Yu's dad seems to be like some powerful dude, all right? Seems to be some rich dude at least. And this bodyguard tells Duan Yu to come home, right? Now he doesn't really want to because he has freedom right now. He doesn't want to go home, but he goes along anyways. But along the way, the couple, Duan Yu and Mu Wanqing, they try to escape, right? They try to escape, but the bodyguard is persistent and doesn't let them escape. He's always one step ahead of them. So they have to go home. Along the way, they meet Yun Jong-hoo, which is the number 4 guy in the 4 villains group, right? And this guy chases after them. They run to this monastery, and lo and behold, in this monastery, they meet this nun, who is none other than Duan Yu's mom, right? And she's like this older woman, but she still has beautiful looks. And they all fight Yun Jong-hoo together, forcing him to run, right? Now, Duan Yu's mom seems famous also, and she's called the Sage of the Hollow Jade. So anyways, so we have this reunion with his mom. Everyone's happy, but the bodyguard dude fears that the villains will come back after Duan Yu's mother. So he tells her to come home too. Now she reluctantly agrees to go home because it seems like she has some problem with Duan Yu's father, right? We don't know what yet, but she has some problem where she doesn't really want to go home. But she reluctantly agrees for her safety. So the whole group goes home. They finally get on their way home, or near home, I guess. They finally meet Duan Yu's father, right? And his father is accompanied by a whole bunch of cavalry with banners and like trumpets and everything, right? It's all a whole fancy thing. Turns out his father is a famous great general of the country of Dali. Right? No wonder Duan Yu is so fancy. The father greets them with his entire horde of his army or whatever. Father and mother meet. Father is saying like, oh, how glad he is to see her, and she pretty much ignores him. All right, so we see that there's some conflict there. Anyways, they all enter the imperial palace of Dali, and that's where we left off. All right. Don't forget to chew. Yes, don't forget to chew. And don't swallow your... I don't know if anyone does that, but don't swallow your rice cake. Don't just swallow it. You gotta chew. Sarah Melody. You're the 30th to like the video? Awesome. You don't get anything. You gotta thank you. All right, and that's where we left off. Are you ready? Might be a short video today, short stream today, because I think we read a lot last time. We went over half the chapter last time. All right, chapter 6, part 2. After exiting, the party remounted and headed eastwards. So they're going towards the Imperial Palace. After traveling for 2 li, they arrived in front of a large mansion. 2 large flags fluttered in front of the gate. On each flag was written, respectively, the words South Subduing and Protecting Country. At the top of the gate were the words South Subduing Palace. In front of the gate was a large number of Imperial guards. They immediately came to attention and saluted. We respectfully welcome... Wait, these are the cards. We respectfully welcome the prince and the imperial concubine back to their palace. Alright, so his dad is a prince of Dali, and his mom is an imperial concubine, who is now a nun. Yo! Tiana, thank you so much for the super chat. That's what I needed. The South-subduing prince was the first to enter. After taking only 1 step, the Sage of the Hollow Jade suddenly came to a halt. Her eyes suddenly reddened. Tears began to fall. Half pushing, half tugging, Duan Yu escorted his mother through the gate. He said, "Father, your son has brought your mother home. This is a deed of great merit. What reward do you have for me?" His heart filled with happiness. The south subduing prince replied, "Ask your mother for a reward. Whatever your mother wishes to reward you, I will comply." The sage of the hollow jade smiled between her tears. "I'll reward you with a good caning." Duan Yu stuck out his tongue. Upon reaching the great hall, Gao Shengtai rose to his feet. The south subduing prince said, "Younger brother Tai, you are injured. Please sit down." Duan Yu said to Mu Wanqing, "Rest here for a bit. After I pay my respects to the emperor and the empress, I'll come keep you company." Mu Wanqing was unwilling to let him leave her, but had no way to stop him. All she could do was nod her head unhappily. She took a seat at the head chair. Everyone else remained standing. It wasn't until after the south subduing prince and his wife had entered the inner hall that Gao Shengtai finally sat down. But Chu Wanli, Gu Ducheng, Zhu Danchen, and the rest all remained on their feet. Mu Wanqing paid them no attention. Her eyes focused on that great hall. She saw a large horizontal plaque upon which were written the 4 words, "Pillar which supports the nation." It was signed by the imperial pen of Ding Mao. The pillar was covered with calligraphy. It would be difficult to read it all in a short time, and some of the characters she didn't even recognize. A servant brought green tea, respectfully offering it to her on a plate. Mu Wanqing thought to herself, "These people are really weird." She saw that only herself and Gao Shengtai had been offered tea. Zhu Danchen and the others, when fighting off the enemy, had been awe-inspiring figures, but upon reaching the south subduing palace, became so quietly respectful. They didn't even dare to breathe too loudly, much less have the aura of heroes who were highly skilled in martial arts. After waiting for some time, Mu Wanqing became impatient. She loudly shouted, "Duan Yu! Duan Yu! What are you doing in there? Why haven't you come out yet?" The great hall was filled with people, but none of them had dared to make so much as a peep. With Mu Wanqing's sudden shout, everyone was startled for a moment. Gao Shengtai laughingly whispered, "Miss, be patient. The young prince will be back soon." Mu Wanqing asked, "Young prince? What young prince?" Gao Shengtai responded, "Young Master Duan is the son of the south subduing prince. Of course he is the young prince." Mu Wanqing mused aloud to herself, Young prince, that bookworm is a prince. He doesn't look the part." A eunuch exited the inner hall. "The emperor has issued a request. Will the Marquis of Virtuous Enlightenment and Mu Wanqing please enter the hall?" Upon seeing the eunuch enter, Gao Shengtai had already respectfully risen to his feet. Mu Wanqing remained seated. So she doesn't know any of the etiquette of the court, obviously, because she grew up in the mountains, right? Upon hearing the eunuch utter her name, she wasn't happy. She muttered to herself, "He doesn't even address me as Miss. Is my name so casually called out by the likes of you?" Gao Shengtai said, "Miss Mu, let's go pay our respects to the emperor." Oh, now they get to meet the emperor. Even though Mu Wanqing feared neither heaven nor nor earth, upon hearing that she was to go meet the emperor, she was still a bit uneasy at heart. So this is the emperor of the country of Dali, right? All she could do was follow behind Gao Shengtai. They passed through a long corridor and a large courtyard. It was as though they were walking through an unending room, but at last they arrived outside a flower pavilion. The eunuch reported, "The Marquis of Virtuous Enlightenment and Mu Wanqing have come to pay their respects to the Emperor and Empress," and then he left. Gao Shengtai gave Mu Wanqing a meaningful look, then entered the flower pavilion and knelt before a man and a woman who were sitting in the center. Mu Wanqing did not kneel. Seeing that the male had a long beard and wore a golden robe with a clear and intelligent appearance, she asked, "So you are the emperor?" The man who sat in the middle was indeed the emperor of the country of Dali, Duan Zhengming. His imperial reign was named Baoding. The country of Dali was established in the second year of heavenly fortune of the later Jin dynasty of the Five Dynasties period. Thus, it was actually founded 23 years before Zhao Kuanyin founded the Song dynasty. The people of Dali's Duan dynasty was originally from the Wu Wei region. Their first ancestor was Duan Jianwei. He assisted the Nanzhao's Meng clan and became known as the official of pureness and peace. 6 generations later, his descendant, Duan Xiping, became the governor of Tonghai. In the Dingyou year, Duan Xiping founded the nation and became the great ancestor of the Duan dynasty, known as the saintly emperor of martial prowess and learning. Duan Zhengming was the 14th emperor in the line, which had been in power for 150 years. So it's a 150-year-old dynasty. A eunuch would have a higher voice. You want me to have a higher voice for a eunuch? I think that was normal, right? No? I think that's how a eunuch would sound. At this time, the northern Song was ruled by Emperor Zhizong in the city of Bianliang. Being young in years, the Empress Dowager attended to state affairs. She appointed and trusted famous statesmen and appealed severe laws, resulting in the rejoicing of the common people and pacifying the land. She was the most brilliant and humane female lord in Chinese history, which would proclaim her as being the female Yao and Shun, which were famously benevolent Chinese emperors. The country of Dali was located in southern Xinjiang, and thus every emperor was a devout adherent to Buddhism. Now, should we look at the map to see where it is? It's like southwest of the Song dynasty. So this is Song, and this is Dali to the southwest. Even though they had raised themselves to the level of being a ruler towards the Song dynasty, they were always deferential and unfailingly patient, never raising arms against them. Emperor Baoding had reigned for 11 years and espoused 3 precepts: to protect order, to uphold peace, and secure the blessings of heaven, creating a heaven-like place to live. The borders were safe, the country was prosperous, and the people lived in peace. Emperor Baoding, upon seeing that Mu Wanqing not only did not kneel, but even cheekily asked him directly if he was the emperor, couldn't help but laugh. I am indeed the emperor. Do you find the city of Dali to be a fun place? Mu Wanqing replied, As soon as I entered the city, I was brought to come see you. I haven't explored it yet. Emperor Baoding let out a slight smile. Tomorrow, Yuer will take you out to tour the city and show you the sights of Dali. Mu Wanqing replied, Great. Will you be coming with us as well? After she said this, everybody present couldn't help but laugh slightly. Emperor Baoding turned to look at the Empress, who sat by his side, and merrily asked, Empress, this little sister wants us to accompany her sightseeing. What do you think? The Empress smiled a little, but did not respond. Mu Wanqing cast a few glances at her. Are you the Empress? You really are quite pretty. Emperor Baoding roared with laughter. You were. This Miss Mu is very innocent and naive. How amusing. Mu Wanqing asked, Why do you call him Yu-er? Are you the uncle which he kept on talking about? He snuck out of the city to have some fun and was very afraid that you would be angry at him. Don't beat him. Don't beat him, okay? Emperor Baoding laughed. I was going to give him 50 hard strokes of the cane, but since you ask for mercy on his behalf, I'll spare him. Yu-er, quickly, thank Miss Mu. Seeing that Mu Wanqing had put the emperor in a merry mood, Duan Yu was happy. He knew that his uncle had an even temperament. Okay, so his dad is like a great general, and his uncle is the emperor. Okay, so he has a very high position in the court. Duan Yu bowed deeply towards Mu Wanqing and said, "Many thanks to Miss Mu for asking for clemency on my behalf." Mu Wanqing returned his bow and whispered, "As long as your uncle has agreed to not beat you, my heart is at ease. There's no need to thank me." Then she immediately turned towards Emperor Baoding and said, "I always thought that emperors were really fierce and scary people. I never would have imagined that you are very nice." Aside from being praised by his parents when he was a child, for the past 10 years, everyone who met Emperor Baoding would be extremely respectful and fearful. Nobody would ever call him very nice. But he saw that Mu Wanqing was like a piece of muddied gold or uncut jade, totally unaware of propriety and customs, and liked her all the more. He said to the Empress, "Do you have anything to bestow upon her?" The Empress removed a jade bracelet from her left wrist and handed it over. "I'll give this to you as a gift." Mu Wanqing accepted the gift and wore it on her own wrist. Suddenly, she laughed. "Thanks. Next time I'll also find something pretty and give it to you." The Empress laughed slightly. "Then I'll thank you in advance." Suddenly, a g sound could be heard on the roof of the pavilion, followed by another g sound coming from the top of an adjacent room. Mu Wanqing was startled and knew that an enemy had arrived. That person had arrived so very quickly, but suddenly, like raindrops hitting the ground, the sound of other people arriving on the roof was heard as well. Chu Wanli's voice sounded out. "Sir, what desire do you have that causes you to arrive at the prince's manor in the dead of night?" Oh, so it's the nighttime. A loud, coarse, husky voice replied, I came to find my apprentice. Quick, go have my obedient apprentice come out and pay me a visit." It was the divine crocodile of the southern seas. Divine Croc is back here? Wow. How did he enter the palace? Mu Wanqing's sense of startlement deepened. Although the prince's palace was heavily protected, with guards clustered as thickly as the clouds, and although the south-subduing prince, Gao Shengtai, the sage of the hollow jade, and Chu, Gu, Fu, and Zhu all possessed excellent martial arts, but the divine croc of the southern seas was really too formidable. If Yun Zhong'e and Yang Niang, along with that as yet unseen most evil man in the world, appeared, then the four evils would be working in harmony, and it would be difficult to prevent them from kidnapping Duan Yu. Chu Wanli shouted in reply, "Sir, who is your apprentice? How could your apprentice be in the palace of the south-subduing prince? Withdraw and depart." But suddenly a mocking laugh was heard, and a large hand appeared, which ripped apart the large plaque above the room, tearing it in two. Like a shadowy blur, the divine crocodile of the southern seas suddenly appeared in the middle of the pavilion. Casting his gaze across the people present, he spotted Duan Yu and laughed loudly, then shouted, "Number 4 wasn't wrong. My obedient apprentice really is here after all. Quick, beg for me to make you my apprentice, then come with me to learn martial arts." While speaking, he extended his chicken claw-like hands and reached for Duan Yu's shoulders. The south-subduing prince saw that this claw came swiftly and with great power, and was afraid that his beloved son would be hurt. Immediately, he struck out with a counter palm. With a pung sound, their two hands collided, and he fully blocked the energy of the strike. The divine croc was secretly alarmed and asked, Who the heck are you? I came here to take my apprentice away. What business is it of yours?" Smiling, the south-subduing prince replied, "I am Duan Zhengchun. This child is my son. When precisely did he kowtow and accept you as his master?" Duan Yu laughed. He wanted to accept me as his apprentice. I told him that I had accepted another master long ago, but he wouldn't believe me. The divine croc looked at Duan Yu. Then he looked at the south-subduing prince, Duan Zhengchun, and said, "The old guy's martial arts is pretty damn good, but the kid doesn't know any at all. I refuse to believe that you two are father and son. Duan Zhengchun, we're not bad, but even if he is really your son, you haven't been teaching martial arts properly. Your son is really worthless. What a pity. What a pity. Duan Zhengchun responded, What's a pity? The divine crocodile responded, Your son is really similar to me. He's an exceptionally rare prospect for studying martial arts. He only needs to study with me for 10 years, and I guarantee that he will become an incredible expert in the Wulin. Duan Zhengchun was half furious, half amused. From his earlier exchange of palms with the divine croc, he knew that this person's martial arts was extremely formidable, and just as he was formulating a proper response, Duan Yu interjected. Yue number 3. Sorry. Yue number 3. Your martial arts are crap. You aren't fit to be my master. Go back to the 10,000 crocodile island of the southern seas and practice martial arts for another 20 years before coming here to discuss martial arts with others. The divine croc angrily responded, A little brat like you? Do you have the stature to claim my martial arts are bad? Duan Yu responded, Let me ask you. Wind and thunder increase. A gentleman should act in virtuous ways, and if he commits an error, must rectify it. What does this mean? The divine crocodile was stupefied, then indignantly responded, But that doesn't have any meaning. You're just talking rubbish. Duan Yu said, You don't even understand these most basic of sentences? How can you be fit to discuss martial arts philosophy? I'll ask you another question. To injure those above, to benefit those below, the people speak without boundaries, one's self, top and bottom, below, arriving at great brightness. What does that mean? Emperor Baoding, the south-subduing prince, Gao Shengtai, and others, upon hearing him recite from the Book of Changes, to tease this person, couldn't control their laughter. Even though Mu Wanqing had no idea what he was talking about, but guessed that it was something akin to a sour scholar dropping a satchel, and that he was mocking the divine crocodile. In his startlement, the divine crocodile noticed that upon the face of every person present was suppressed laughter. He guessed that whatever it was that Duan Yu said, it probably was insulting. With a loud roar, Rah! He extended his palm, preparing to strike. Duan Zhengchun took a half step forward, standing between him and his son. Duan Yu laughed. What I have said are all secrets of martial arts practice, and their subtleties are boundless and without end. You probably wouldn't understand anyway. You frog in a well. Actually want to be my master? The people under heaven would laugh so hard their mouths would become permanently askew. The masters I have kowtowed to. Some are Taoist immortals from jade caverns. Others are elite scholars and erudites, and others are learned elder monks. You, even if you studied for another 10 years, you might not be able to get me to accept you as my student. The divine crocodile loudly roared, Who is the teacher you have accepted? Tell him to get out here and show me his abilities. Duan Zhengchun saw that only one of the 4 evils had arrived. Although his martial arts was formidable, the divine croc was still a level beneath himself. He might as well take this opportunity to allow this idiot to be teased a bit. Thus, although the emperor, empress, and imperial concubine were all in attendance, he did not step in to curb his son's nonsense. Duan Yu, seeing amusement on the face of his uncle, and seeing that his father wasn't going to step in, became even more animated. He said to the divine crocodile, Fine, you have the courage to stay here. I'll go invite my master. Don't get scared and hop away. The divine croc angrily replied, I, Yue number 2, have wandered the Jianghu for such a long time. Who am I afraid of? Hurry, go. Turning, Duan Yu left. The divine crocodile took a look at every person's face, only to see that there was a smile on each of their faces. He thought to himself, My apprentice's martial arts are so crappy, not worth a dog's fart. How good can his teacher be? Your old man ain't scared of him one bit. He suddenly heard the sound of boots as 2 people entered the room. From outside, Duan Yu called out, Has that Yue number 3 fellow ran off yet? Father, don't let him flee. My master is coming. The divine crocodile roared back. Why would I run away? Damn it! Quickly, have your teacher enter. You aren't willing to accept such an illustrious teacher as myself. It's most likely because your current teacher won't agree. First, I'll snap the neck of your worthless teacher. Then, without a teacher, you'll have to accept me as your teacher. This idea of mine is so extremely brilliant. Just as he was praising himself, Duan Yu brought a person in. Upon seeing that person, everyone present couldn't resist laughing their heads off. This person wore a small hat and a long gown, with a yellow rat-like mustache and squinty red eyes. He had a shrunken set of shoulders, appearing to be a humble thing. The sage of hollow jade and the others recognized him as Mr. Huo, one of the palace's accountants. This person always seemed to be half asleep, half awake. He loved to go gambling with the palace's servants. So he just brought an old accountant? Okay. Wait, did Croc said he made it number 2? Oh yeah, Croc is in... Croc, Divine Croc always calls himself number 2, even though he's actually number 3. He's in competition with the number 2, that lady who kills babies. Yeah. So he calls himself number 2. At the moment, he was covered with the scent of alcohol, and his front was covered in grease. Duan Yu was grabbing his arm, trying to pull him in, but he was cowering and reluctant. As soon as he entered the flower pavilion, he knelt before the emperor and the empress. Emperor Baoding did not recognize him and merely said, "Forget it." Holding on to Mr. Huo's arm, Duan Yu said to the divine crocodile, "Yeah, number 3, amongst all of my masters, this one has the most shallow martial arts. First, you need to overcome him before you can go on to challenge my other masters." The divine crocodile screamed loudly, "If I can't crush him into a pulp within 3 stances, I'll accept you as my master." Duan Yu's eyes suddenly gleamed. "Are you serious? A man's word is his bond. If a man breaks his word, then he isn't a man at all. He's a bastard, son of a turtle." The divine crocodile yelled, "Come, come, come!" Duan Yu answered, "If we're only competing 3 stances, then there's no need to fight with my master. I'll take on those 3 stances of yours myself." Oh, he's gonna fight him? No. After hearing the report from Yun Zhonghe, the divine crocodile immediately rushed to Dali. His sole goal was to abduct Duan Yu and make him the heir of the martial arts of the Southern Seas sect. After exchanging a set of palms with Duan Zhengchun, his heart was filled with fear, thinking to himself that to kidnap Duan Yu while surrounded by so many elite fighters would be a difficult task indeed. He might not even be able to take his apprentice's father. Fortunately, at this moment, Duan Yu himself volunteered to fight him. He couldn't ask for a better opportunity. With a single stance, he could subdue Duan Yu. After that, no matter how good Duan Zhengchun and the others' martial arts were, they wouldn't dare move against him. All they would be able to do would be to watch dumbly as he took his apprentice away. The divine crocodile replied, "Fine, come take 3 stances from me. I won't use any internal energy and promise not to hurt you at all." Duan Yu answered, "Let's set all the conditions now. What happens if you can't beat me in those 3 stances?" The divine crocodile laughed loudly. He knew that Duan Yu was a frail, scholarly weakling who didn't even have the strength to tie up a chicken. Forget 3 stances, the kid couldn't even take on 1. "If I can't hit you in 3 stances, I'll accept you as my master." Duan Yu laughed. "Everyone here can bear witness. You won't go back on your words, will you?" The divine crocodile angrily replied, "If the words of Yue number 2 are totally trustworthy, the words of Yue number 2 are totally trustworthy. If I say this is this, then it is. If I say that is that, then it is." Duan Yu teased, "Yue number 3. The divine crocodile retorted, "Yue number 2. Yue number 3. Quick, make your move and stop wasting time." Duan Yu strode forward 2 steps to face the divine crocodile. Of the people in the palace, everyone from the emperor and empress on down, with the exception of Mu Wanqing, had watched Duan Yu grow up. They all knew that he loved scholastics and hated fighting. This time, Emperor Baoding and Duan Zhengchun wanted to force him to learn martial arts. Instead, he actually snuck away from home, forget about exchanging blows with first-class masters. Even if he were to fight with your average bodyguard or escort, he would definitely not be a match. Everyone present knew that he was just teasing this idiot, but in the end, his words became hard, and it looked like he was actually going to fight the idiot. Although the divine crocodile had promised not to harm him due to wanting to take him on as an apprentice, the divine crocodile's temperament was violent and murderous. What if he suddenly became enraged and started to fight for real? Guan Yu was of royal descent. How could he possibly be allowed to take on the risk? The sage of the hollowed jade was the first to speak and to block Duan Yu. Stop fooling around. There's no need to waste time on a wild, uncouth man such as him. The Empress also spoke. Marquis of Virtuous Enlightenment, issue an order to have this madman apprehended. The Marquis of Virtuous Enlightenment, Gao Shengtai, replied, Your servant, Gao Shengtai, will obey. Turning, he shouted, Chu Wanli, Gu Dushang, Fu Sigui, Zhu Danchen, the four of you, listen to the imperial decree. The Empress orders you to apprehend this unruly man. Chu Wanli and the other three respectfully replied, Your servants shall follow the decree. The divine crocodile, seeing that a brawl was about to erupt, loudly shouted, So you people want to mob me, huh? Fine, all of you, come at once. You there, are you the emperor and the empress? Why don't the two of you come as well? Duan Yu frantically waved his hands. Wait, let me fight with him for 3 stances first. Emperor Baoding knew that this nephew of his was often capable of exceeding expectations. Perhaps he had some sort of plan or trick up his sleeve. The divine crocodile definitely would not take his life, and with himself, the Marquis of Virtuous Enlightenment, his brothers, and the others present, there definitely wouldn't be any problems. Everybody stop. We might as well let this uncouth madman experience the martial talents of the young prince of Dali. Chu Wanli and the other 3 were just about to charge, but as soon as they heard the emperor's decree, they immediately stood down. Duan Yu repeated, Yuan number 3, we have to agree in advance. If you can't beat me in 3 stances, you'll have to take me on as your master. Even if I become your master, you need to be aware that your intelligence is lacking. There's no way I can teach you martial arts. Do you agree to this? The divine crocodile angrily replied, Who wants you to teach me martial arts? What kind of crappy martial arts can you possibly know? Duan Yu said, Good, so you've agreed. After I become your master, you'll have to obey my commands. If I tell you to do something, you must do it. Otherwise, you'll be known as an unfilial person who disobeys his master and insults his ancestors, which is totally contrary to the rules of Wulin. Do you agree? The divine crocodile actually wasn't angry. Instead, he laughed. Naturally. After you lose and take me on as your master, you also would have to obey me. Duan Yu had been silently pondering the 10 or so steps of the graceful steps upon the waves, martial arts he had learned. He felt that to avoid 3 stances would not be difficult. However, he had never fought with anyone before, and the divine Croc's martial arts was extremely high, leaving him without absolute confidence in victory. It would be best to leave himself an avenue of retreat. Okay, so he really thinks he can beat this guy. He has like decent confidence that the martial arts that he learned, well, not beat, right? He can't beat him, but he can just run away. He can dodge him, because I think the graceful steps upon the waves is just to run away. Unfilial, like a person who does not abide by the bonds of like father and son, and master and apprentice. Like a filial person would be someone who, like, if you have filial piety, means you honor the bonds of father and son, right? Or your parents and of parents and children. Yeah, how do you explain this? So filial means like um you accept the responsibility of the obligations that come as being a son or a apprentice or some junior to a senior, right? Yeah, so an unfilial person would be someone who doesn't do that. The runaway style. There's probably a better way to explain that. Of or due from a son or daughter. Yeah. So like filial piety. A virtue of respect for one's parents, elders, and ancestors. Yeah. So it's kind of like duty, like your duty to your superiors or your duty to your master or your father or mother, something like that. Right, so he's saying that yeah, so if he disobeys his master, then he would be not filial, right? He would not he would not be respecting the bonds of a master and an apprentice. Fine, Duan Yu said, but if you want to take me on as your apprentice, you still need to defeat my masters one by one. Only after proving that your martial arts are superior will I accept you as my master. He thought to himself, if I am grabbed by him underneath 3 stances, I'll just point at all the elite martial artists here, one by one, and describe them all as being my masters, and force him to fight them one by one by one. The divine crocodile replied, Fine, fine. You keep on talking, but you refuse to fight. You aren't like me at all. The students of the Southern Seas sect are never hesitant when it comes to a battle. You accept my definition? Thank you. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Duan Yu pointed behind the divine crocodile with a faint smile. One of my masters has been standing behind you for a long time now. The divine crocodile hadn't sensed anyone behind him. Swiveling his head, he didn't see anybody. At this time, Duan Yu suddenly advanced 1 step, moving as though he were floating on the breeze. Oh, wait. Before we get to the battle, give me a 5-minute break, okay? 5-minute break. We'll be right back. And we're back. Backy. Alright, ready? The fight starts now. At this time, Duan Yu suddenly advanced 1 step, moving as though he were floating on the breeze. Clumsily, he reached out towards the divine croc's chest, attempting to strike at his Shanzhong acupoint with his thumb. This was an extremely clumsy and ungainly move, but Duan Yu's body was filled with the internal energy of 7 disciples of the Wuliang sword sect. Oh yeah, remember he sucked the energies of those guys. So he's pretty strong now, but how strong is he? Although he couldn't use all of that internal energy, the power of this claw was not small. The divine crocodile felt some pain at the pit of his stomach as Duan Yu suddenly seized his Shen Chui acupoint, located at his navel with his left hand. The scroll for the divine art of the northern darkness included drawings of numerous myriads of acupoints on it. Duan Yu, however, had only mastered the acupoints on two of the drawings, the run meridians and the lunar lung scripture. The Shanzhong acupoint and Shanshui acupoints were the two major acupoints of the run meridians. Startled, the divine croc immediately exerted his internal energy to resist. To his great shock, he felt it flow outwards from his Shanzhong acupoint, causing him to feel as though his entire body had lost half of its strength, frightening him even further. Duan Yu had already flipped him around, causing his feet to point upwards and his head to point downwards. With a tongue sound, his big bald head collided with the floor. Fortunately for him, the floor of the flower pavilion was carpeted, and so he was not injured. In his great anger, he exercised the skill the carp stands erect and rose to his feet, then sent out his... That's a very dirty sounding skill, not gonna lie. Then sent out his left hand in a claw attack towards Duan Yu. So he's felt his internal energy being sucked by Duan Yu. Upon seeing this series of events, every person present was extremely shocked. Duan Zhengchun, seeing that the divine crocodile sent out that claw with extreme force, was just about to intervene when Duan Yu suddenly sidestepped towards the left. His footwork was strange to the extreme, but with a single step he managed to dodge the opponent's attack, which had struck with the speed of a peal of thunder or a flash of lightning. Duan Zhengchun exclaimed, "Incredible!" The divine crocodile's second palm attack came slamming down towards Duan Yu, who did not try to block or counter. Instead, he took two oblique steps and once again completely dodged the attack. The divine crocodile had missed two attacks in a row. He was both startled and angry. Duan Yu was standing right in front of him, not more than a meter away. Suddenly, with a crazy howl, he sent out a two-handed attack, grabbing at Duan Yu's chest and stomach. He used all of his energy in this attack, arms, hands, and claws. In his anger, he had completely forgotten that if this double blow connected, his future heir to the Southern Seas sect would suffer a tremendous physical damage. Emperor Baoding, Duan Zhengchun, the Sage of the Hollow Jade, and Gao Shengtai shouted in unison, "Careful!" only to see Duan Yu take a step to the left, then a step to the right. With breeze-like ease, he had already managed to somehow appear behind the divine crocodile. With his two hands, he patted the divine crocodile on his bald head. The divine crocodile felt that his opponent's attack was totally mysterious and unpredictable. However, somehow the kid had managed to pat him on the top of his head. He darkly exclaimed, "My life comes to an end!" But as soon as his opponent touched the top of his head, he realized that there was no power behind this blow at all. With a sneer, he reversed his left hand and sent it upwards. Suddenly, 5 bloody lines appeared on the back of Duan Yu's hand. Duan Yu hastily retracted his hand, but the divine crocodile's power hadn't diminished yet. The clawing attack slid down from Duan Yu's retracted hand, resulting in 5 bloody cuts, also being made on the divine crocodile's head. So he scratched Duan Yu and his own head at the same time. Actually, after being avoided 3 separate attacks in a row, after having avoided 3 separate attacks in a row, Duan Yu had already won this battle, only he was far too mischievous, and so patted the divine crocodile on his head. He wasn't aware that his internal energy was now quite strong, and also didn't know how to utilize it either. Consequently, he was almost captured instead. With a series of interconnected steps, he flew backwards and hid behind his father, so terrified that his face was pale and bloodless. Did he win or did he win? He totally won, right? Duan Yu would be a very good basketball player. Charu. The Sage of the Hollow Jade cast him a glance and thought to herself, Your father and your uncle taught you such a marvelous skill, and you've been hiding it from me all along. Mu Wanqing said loudly, Divine crocodile of the southern seas, not only were you unable to hit him with 3 strokes, but you took a nasty tumble yourself instead. Quick, get over here and pay respects to your master. Red-faced, the divine crocodile scratched his ear. He wasn't fighting with me for real. This one doesn't count. Mu Wanqing pointed directly at his face. Have you no shame? If you aren't going to accept him as your master, then you must be a bastard son of a turtle. What's your choice? Are you going to accept him as your master, or be a bastard son of a turtle? The divine crocodile angrily replied, Neither. I want to fight him again. Duan Zhengchun saw that his son's footwork was miraculous to the extreme, but was unable to discern the secret behind it. Quietly he whispered to his son, Don't fight with him head on. Just take an opportunity to seize his acupoints. Duan Yu whispered back, Your son is afraid now. I don't know if I can do it. Duan Zhengchun replied softly, Don't be afraid. I'll secretly assist you from the side. With his father supporting him, Duan Yu's courage rose, and he reappeared from behind Duan Zhengchun's back. You weren't able to hit me. In 3 stances. Time to accept me as your master. The divine crocodile let out a thunderous bellow and struck out at him with a powerful palm. Duan Yu took a single step towards the northeast and easily avoided the attack. With a loud kala, his palm attack from the divine crocodile shattered a tea table. With all his willpower, Duan Yu focused and softly recited, See my body, advance and retreat. Follow his back, do not capture him. Go to the front courtyard and see nobody present. Hide both sides of the urn. Go to a strategic place. Peel, disadvantageous to go towards the construct. The ram and goat touch the border. They cannot retreat, nor can they be fulfilled. I guess those are the words of the martial arts. He ignored the origins of the divine crocodile's palms, focusing only on his own footwork, retreating and dodging with strange, slanted steps. The twin palms of the divine crocodile became faster and faster, and the force of his blows stronger and stronger. A ceaseless stream of cracking sounds continually could be heard from within the flower pavilion as the chairs, tables, teapots, and teacups were shattered one after another. But he couldn't land a single blow on Duan Yu's body. More than 3 stances passed in the blink of an eye. The 2 brothers, Emperor Baoding and the self-subduing prince, could easily tell that Duan Yu's technique was shallow and that he possessed no martial arts at all. Only they could not discern how he received instruction from an elite martial artist and received an almost divine footwork skill, striding the positions of Fuxi's 6 trigrams. His first step would always be unimaginably queer. If he were really to fight with the divine crocodile, he would die underneath the opponent's very first palm. But he didn't bother to fight, and just focused on walking around. Although the divine crocodile's palms were extremely fierce, he couldn't lay a single finger on Duan Yu. After watching for a while, the 2 brothers exchanged glances. A hint of worry had appeared on both of their faces. They both thought, if the divine crocodile just closed his eyes and ignored Yuer's footwork, opting instead to randomly flail out with punches and palms, he'll hit him sooner or later. But they saw that the divine crocodile's face grew more and more yellow, his eyes bulging more and more wide, not having thought of this method. His palm attacks fluctuated rapidly, but would always miss Duan Yu's body by 1/3 or 2/3 of a meter. If the fight continued, although Duan Yu would not be hurt, actually beating the opponent would be impossible as well. After watching a while, Emperor Baoding suddenly said, Yuer, slow your footsteps by 1/2, face him directly, and grab the acupoint on his chest. Duan Yu answered, Yes. He slowed down his footsteps, then turned to face the divine crocodile and walked towards him. But upon facing the furious yellow countenance of the divine crocodile, fear suddenly struck him. His footsteps faltered just a little, causing him to move slightly out of position. The divine crocodile sent out a claw towards the left side of Duan Yu's head, connecting and causing blood to immediately flow from his left ear. Feeling pain from his wounded ear, Duan Yu became even more timid. He increased the speed of his footsteps, hurriedly backing up and once again hiding behind Duan Zhengchun. With a forced smile, he called out, "Uncle, that won't work." Duan Zhengchun roared furiously. The members of the Da Li Duan dynasty face their enemies boldly. Which one is cowardly and retreats to hide? Go out there and fight. Your uncle's instructions were good. The sage of the hollow jade, doting on her son, interjected. Yu'er has already fought with him for 60 stances or more. The Duan family has produced such a wonderful scion, and you still think it isn't enough? Yu'er, you won long ago. No need to fight anymore. Duan Zhengchun said, Do not be afraid. I can guarantee that he won't die. The sage of hollow jade felt bitterness in her heart, and her eyes began to fill with tears. Seeing his mother in such a state, Duan Yu couldn't bear it. His courage rose again, and he boldly strode forwards. He loudly proclaimed, I'll fight with you some more. This time he hardened his heart and began to walk in a circular pattern, with each step slower than the previous. He didn't make eye contact with the divine crocodile, and instead just struck out at the latter's chest with a palm. The divine crocodile saw that there was no strength at all behind his blow. With a loud laugh, he slanted his body slightly and returned a claw attack against Duan Yu's shoulder and head. But he didn't imagine Duan Yu's footwork would be so incredibly profound and ever-changing that the two moved their positions at exactly the same moment. As the two ran into each other, the divine crocodile's chest was somehow right where Duan Yu's finger was. Duan Yu clearly saw the location of his acupoints, and with his right hand immediately seized the enemy's Shanzhong acupoint, while his left hand grasped the opponent's Shen-Cui acupoint. Unfortunately, he wasn't able to use his internal energy at all. Although Duan Yu had grabbed two of the opponent's acupoints, if the divine crocodile just ignored him and shrugged him off without the use of internal energy, there would be nothing Duan Yu could do at all. But when the vital acupoints of the divine croc were seized, the divine croc's heart suddenly leapt, and he extended both his hands in a frontal attack against his enemy. This attack actually served the purpose of defense. He was attacking Duan Yu's eyes. In martial arts learning, this was considered an attack which absolutely must be defended against. No matter how strong the enemy was, he would still have to retract his hands to defend himself, and thus the person originally in danger would have escaped from the dangerous situation. Originally, this was a brilliant way of fighting. Unfortunately, Duan Yu didn't understand anything about fighting an enemy. As the opponent's claw attack arrived, he didn't think to immediately let go and retreat backwards. His two hands remained firmly attached to the divine crocodile's acupoints. This mistake, which Duan Yu made, became a benefit for him instead. As a result, the divine croc's internal energy was thrown into turmoil, the flow of which was being blocked at two separate major acupoints. At the same time, once again his internal energy began to flood out of him from his Shanzhong acupoint. As his fingers reached the distance of 6 inches away from Duan Yu's eyes, they became disobedient and refused to budge a single inch further. Taking a deep breath, he once again tried to generate his energy. Duan Yu suddenly felt an enormous surge of energy coming towards him from the Shaoshang acupoint on his left thumb. The divine croc's internal energy was very powerful, and on a totally different level from those 7 low-level disciples of the Wuliang sect. Duan Yu felt his entire body tremble, and his footing became unsteady. He knew that the situation was extremely dangerous. As soon as he removed his hands from his opponent's acupoints, his life would be in jeopardy. Although he felt extremely uncomfortable, he just forced himself to ignore it. Duan Zhengchun and Duan Yu were no more than a meter or two's distance away from each other. Seeing his son's face grow more and more red, Duan Zhengchun struck out with his forefinger towards the Dazhui acupoint on his son's back. The Da Li The Dali Duan dynasty's solitary solar finger, Yi Yang Ji, was world renowned. It really was nothing to trifle with. A sudden surge of warm, soft energy streamed towards Duan Yu, arousing the internal energy which already resided in Duan Yu's body. Okay, so his dad is using this really famous martial arts that he has to help his son, right? The divine Crox's entire body was shaking violently, and he slowly fell down. Duan Zhengchun supported his son and kept him standing. Duan Yu's energy began to circulate and smooth out again. The energy from the divine crocodile's Shou Tai Yung Fei acupoint slowly and unhurriedly began to collect in the ocean of internal energy in Duan Yu's body. For the moment, Duan Yu was unable to speak. Duan Zhengchun secretly used his solitary solar finger to assist his son, and with their combined efforts managed to subdue the divine crocodile of the southern seas. Everybody in the pavilion understood this, of course, but there would nonetheless be no way for the divine crocodile to deny that he had lost to Duan Yu. But this man's ability really was incredible. As soon as Duan Yu's hands left his acupoints, with a deep breath and circulation of his energy, the divine croc leapt to his feet. Narrowing his pair of bean-like eyes, he glared at Duan Yu. An utterly strange look was on his face, a mixture of astonishment, sadness, and wrath. Mu Wanqing shouted, "Yuan number 3, it seems to me that you really are willing to be a bastard son of a turtle. Are you ready to kowtow to your master yet?" The divine croc angrily roared back, "I'm going to blow your mind and do something you won't expect at all. Fine, I'll accept him as my master. Yuan number 2 will definitely not be a bastard son of a turtle." While speaking, he suddenly immediately knelt down on the spot. Dong, 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 his head knocking against the ground. He kowtowed to Duan Yu 8 times in a row. Loudly, he proclaimed, "Master, your disciple, Yuan number 2, is paying his respects to you." Stupefied, Duan Yu didn't immediately respond. Not waiting for him to answer, the divine croc jumped to his feet, then flew to the top of the pavilion. There was an "ah" cry from the top, followed by a "pung" sound. Suddenly, a person dropped from the top of the pavilion. It was one of the imperial bodyguards, and fresh blood dripped from his chest. His heart had already been torn out by the divine croc. His arms and legs flailing madly, he hadn't died yet. It was an extremely frightful sight. Although this bodyguard's martial arts was not as good as that of Chu Wanli and the others, it wasn't ordinary either. Unexpectedly, the divine croc was able to easily rip his heart out, as quickly as another man might lift his hands. Even though the 4 great bodyguards were nearby, they were unable to save him. The faces of every person present changed color. He had to save face, just had to kill one person. So it looks like he's now the apprentice of Duan Yu. Mu Wanqing angrily said, "Husband Duan, this disciple you have taken acts too outrageously. Next time you meet him, you need to teach him a lesson." Duan Yu's heart was thumping frantically. I won only because I was lucky, and because my father lent his aid. If I see him again, I'm afraid that it would be my heart that gets torn out by him. What ability do I have to discipline him?" Gu Ducheng and Fu Sigui took out the corpse of the guardsman. Duan Zhengchun issued orders to provide for his bereaved family and to arrange for a proper burial. That Mr. Huo, who was 70% awake and 30% drunken, was so terrified that his body was trembling nonstop. He also withdrew. Emperor Baoding said, That set of footsteps you learned was derived from Fu Shi's 64 trigrams, was it not? Who taught it to you? He must truly be a brilliant master." Duan Yu replied, "I learned it by accident in a mountain cave. I don't know if I learned it properly or not. Will uncle please instruct me?" Emperor Baoding asked, How exactly did you learn it in a mountain cave? Duan Yu then explained how he fell into the Wuliang mountain ravine and entered the cavern and discovered the painting with the instructions for the graceful steps on the waves. With regards to the jade sculpture and the paintings of naked women and whatnot, he naturally did not bring them up. These naked paintings of his dear goddess, how could he show them to his uncle, aunt, father, and mother? And if Mu Wanqing found out that he was infatuated with this dear goddess, she would be furious. Leaving out details in a story would be like Confucius whittling away at unnecessary parts of the spring and autumn period, just the wish of the storyteller. After Duan Yu was finished, the Emperor Baoding said, "Within this 64 trigrams footwork is hidden a first-class internal energy. Try walking the entire thing from the beginning." Duan Yu said, "Yes." After a moment's thought, he began the footwork. Emperor Baoding, Duan Zhengchun, and Gao Shengtai all had very profound internal energy, but despite that, they were only able to understand 20 to 30% of the profound secrets of the internal energy method hidden within the footwork. After finishing all 64 trigram footsteps, Duan Yu had walked in a circle and was back at his original position. Emperor Baoding exclaimed, "Superb! This set of footwork has no equal under heaven. That Yuer was able to learn it is his incredible good fortune. Tonight, your mother will return to her palace. Yuer, be sure to drink a few cups of wine with your mother." Turning his head, he said to the Empress, "Let us leave." The Empress, rising to her feet, agreed. "Yes, let's." Duan Zhengchun and the others respectfully escorted the Emperor and the Empress out, all the way to the outside of the all the way to the outside of the decorated arch of the South Subduing Palace. And we're done. All right. Did you guys like that episode? That was good stuff. This guy just keeps on sucking people's energy, man. He's going to be super powerful. Like in a few chapters, probably. All right. Take a drink before we go. All right. Cheers. Yep, so they're back at the Imperial Palace. We meet Duan Yu's mother and father, and the entire family, actually. We find out that Duan Yu is a young prince, right? He's the son of a prince, right? So his father is a prince and also a great general. His uncle is the emperor. So he's like he's the son of his father. He's a son, obviously. He's the son of a prince of Dali. So he's pretty high up there in the court. He's a pretty important person. And Mu Wanqing didn't know any of this. And she was like, "Oh my god, my husband is like a huge person. He's so cool." Very good chapter. Yeah. Yeah. So let's see. Will he continue to become better and better at martial arts, right? He seems to have totally forgotten his thing about like not studying martial arts. It seems. Yeah. All right, guys. Thanks for joining. I hope you liked it. I love you, and I'll see you next week. All right. Bye bye.